In Fallout 4, the most prosperous and biggest settlement is clearly that of Diamond City, located right in downtown Boston. Diamond City is home to a wide cast of characters, and the settlement is governed by a mayor, in this case Mayor McDonough. Today I wanted to explore the social and economic hierarchy of Diamond City and observe the settlement in a more deep and human light. The economy of Diamond City relies primarily on the trading stands within the city itself. Diamond City is not a settlement that produces much, but instead one that acts as a safe hub of trade between residents of the city and external visitors. The city is heavily guarded by the security team that is found within and outside the city's walls, and there is also a detective's office which investigates serious crimes. This allows much more trade to occur within the city, as the safe atmosphere allows individuals to bring much more lucrative goods within. Trading elsewhere in the Commonwealth is very problematic because of the potential for being shot on the road or ambushed by your potential buyer. Diamond City is a very safe settlement, as there are no societal issues or random murders, apart from one notable exception the second time you visit the city, where Kyle pulls a random gun on his brother because he believes he's a synth and gets his head blown off. Apart from that little fiasco, Diamond City is a pretty safe place. The main stores within the city are Mo Cronin's baseball stand, Arturo Rodriguez's weapons store, Myrna's general store, Solomon's chem store, Dr. Sun's doctor office, Dr. Crocker's facial reconstruction office, Kathy and John's super salon, Piper's public occurrences, Polly's meat stand, Takahashi's noodle stand, Shane Kowalski's water stand, and some others. Due to these, Diamond City is able to offer a diverse range of stores for shoppers to go to, and a wide range of businesses that people can invest in. Industries that are rather specific and unique to Diamond City are Dr. Crocker's facial reconstructive surgery, and also Piper's freshly written newspaper, Public Occurrences. These are rather rare in the Commonwealth and the city's main area of ingenuity. Diamond City and the individual stores within are also widely known due to Travis's Diamond City Radio, which regularly features advertising and spreads awareness of the existence of the settlement. The city also has two bars which are popular social hubs, the Upper Stanzas Henry Cook's Bar, the Colonial Tap House, and the Dugout Inn located on the ground floor of the city. These attract a variety of characters, all of whom contribute to the economy of Diamond City. The Dugout Inn is especially useful because it has an inn service for just 10 caps per night. So now I wanted to talk about how much is a cap worth. We've looked at the industries available in Diamond City, and let's have a look at how much money each area of the city is generating. Discerning how much a cap is worth in the Fallout universe is very difficult because prices fluctuate greatly depending on region, vendor, and item. But it is safe to say somewhere around 100 caps is typically the base payment for a variety of jobs. Abbott the Wall Painter offers the sole survivor 100 caps to exit out of the city, walk across the street essentially, and retrieve some paint. Now in this adventure we do encounter some raiders, but unless Abbott was privy to this information, he just assumed we were walking down the road to get some paint. 100 caps is not a lot of money, but a sum that can be used to get people to do what you want. 100 caps is also the price of the facial reconstructive surgery in Diamond City, and a haircut from Kathy and John's salon is 15 caps apiece. We know that real estate in Diamond City is quite expensive, with the house in Diamond City, Home Plate, being worth 2,000 caps, as told to us by Geneva. So from this we can see 100 caps is a fair payment for some services. It's on the upper end of services, especially with Doc Crocker's facial reconstructive surgery, which is a highly skilled profession, so 100 caps apiece is a fair amount of money, and a haircut, which is quite a simple task, is just 15 caps. With the price of real estate being around 2,000 caps, we can see that is quite a significant payment for someone to make. We can also look at how much money the vendors in Diamond City have to trade with, because this will let us see how many caps they expect to be trading with. We know that their caps restock after 48 hours, so this is presuming, say, if a vendor like Arturo Rodriguez has around 300 caps, he expects to be able to trade with those 300 caps using them as change or using them to buy items over a 2-day period. So now that we know a bit more information about how much a cap is worth, let's try and figure out the social groups in Diamond City and how much money each of them have. Now we're going to be starting off with the bottom of the social hierarchy, which is the poor or the peasants, and this is where the divide comes in. There is a huge social and wealth inequality between the poorest and the richest of Diamond City's residents. The poorest of the settlement are clearly those who reside in the outdoor beds right next to the dirt where the food grows. These people have absolutely nothing, not even a proper home. They obviously have less than 2,000 caps to their name because they don't own any property, and more likely less than 100 caps because a room at the Dugout Inn is 10 caps per night, and that is clearly a much better location to sleep and live than out here on the dirty cold floor. Obviously, they will probably have more than 10 caps, but they aren't going to waste all of their money on a one-night stay in an inn. I reckon that their wealth is somewhere less than 100 caps. They clearly have nothing. They don't have walls. They don't have anywhere to store their stuff. They are absolutely at the bottom of the economic barrel. Now, at the second stage, we have the residents of Diamond City who can afford their homes, and these are the merchant class, who are traders or have a skilled profession like Dr. Crocker or Dr. Sun. This is a pretty big leap from the previous class, as they have far more wealth, being able to either outright buy their homes or rent their properties. We don't know if Diamond City residents outright own their homes or rent them, but they do run their own businesses out of these homes, and they possess real estate right in the centre of the city. This class, especially merchants like Arturo, clearly have a good amount of money because of the very rare and very expensive items that they can sell. A good example would be Big Boy, Arturo's most expensive item in his inventory for purchase. We can also infer their wealth from looking at how many caps they have to trade with, as I previously said, and most hover around the 300 mark. This class has wealth of possibly being beyond 2,000 caps if they do own their homes outright, but certainly 500 plus, probably 1,000 plus caps we're looking at on a lower end, as they have access to a lot of items to sell, have some spare caps to trade with, and obviously will keep a rainy day fund in case they need to fall back on some spare caps. Now finally, we're looking to the highest class, and we have the Gentry class, who are simply a group of people that don't have to work at all. These include all of the persons who exist in the upper stands. This group has segregated themselves from the rest of the residents of Diamond City, both physically and mentally, for if you waltz up there and attempt to speak to many of them, they are rather rude and dismissive of someone who has come from the lower part of Diamond City. These people include Nelson and Malcolm Latimer, Anne and Clarence Codman, and others. The wealth of these people is hard to quantify, but it is certain that they outright own their homes because they would not be so braggadocious if they merely rented their property, and inside their homes we can see they are much more spacious than the homes in the lower stands, clearly indicative that these properties are much, much more expensive. These individuals never work and are waited upon hand and foot by Wellingham, the pompous Mr. Handy, that also insults you if you attempt to speak with him. Clarence Codman gives us some good indication as to his wealth status when he says,
"You go on, do what you like. That's how my family made their fortune, you know. No fear, no apologies."
Clearly indicating that he is not only extremely wealthy, but he has inherited generational wealth that he did not contribute to. Looking at some actually quantifiable numbers, we know that during the quest Diamond City Blues, Nelson Latimer was getting involved with some gangsters from another settlement, Goodneighbor, and he was involved in a chem deal with them. There he was purchasing a huge quantity of chems, which aren't cheap. 60 Jet, Psycho, Mentats and Medex each. Now, if we kill Nelson during this deal, we can find on his body over 800 caps, which evidently he was going to use to pay for these chems. 800 caps is a significant amount of money, and the fact that Nelson, someone who is at his father's behest and not free to inherit the entire family fortune, just had access to this much money to spend indicates the residents of the upper stands are very, very wealthy. More evidence comes from this quest when, if you do kill Nelson, his father confronts you about it and you can lie your way out of the situation and tell Malcolm that Murawski in fact killed his son and not you. Here Malcolm will offer you money to deal with Murawski, and he can be persuaded to go up to 600 caps. This is another significant sum of money that Malcolm certainly isn't happy about giving up, but is willing to do so, meaning he just has it on hand. Some more evidence comes from the quest The Devil's Due, where the Gunners were hired to bring Deathclaw eggs to Wellingham in Diamond City to be eaten. We end up finishing this quest as all the Gunners die and we return with 1 egg, and Wellingham expected more but is willing to pay a base price of 200 caps per egg. As we only have 1, we can get the price of 1 egg, but we can convince Wellingham to give us 400 caps for 1 Deathclaw egg, where it is then eaten by Clarence Codman. This clearly shows the insane amount of caps these people have to spend on frivolous items and pursuits. I would estimate if the residents of the upper stands have multiple hundred of caps to essentially waste, then their net cap worth must be north at minimum of 5,000 caps, and probably for some residents like Clarence Codman exceeding 1,000. Their larger homes must be worth double what the base homes at the bottom of Diamond City are worth, so let's say 4,000 caps apiece, and their multiple hundreds of caps to waste definitely shows that their wealth is huge. So, in review, the poorest in Diamond City are indeed rather poor, with likely less than 100 caps to their name, and maybe even 0 caps for some of them, as they sleep outside on filthy mattresses in the dirt. The merchant class likely hover around the 500 to 2,000 cap range, as they potentially own property, but at the bare minimum rent it, and clearly have hundreds of caps to use for trade, and own many items that cost a hefty sum to acquire. Finally, the richest class in Diamond City are the Gentry, who simply don't have to work due to their generational wealth. The latter must spend multiple hundreds of caps on chems and your assassination services, all whilst owning a large home and not really working. The lavish purchases and statements made by Clarence Codman indicate that he is extraordinarily wealthy, with probably over 10,000 caps to his name. I'd say those in the upper stands have wealth definitely north of 5,000 caps and up to 10k for the richest members of this region of Diamond City. So that was just a brief look into the economy of Diamond City and sort of the social hierarchy. I just thought it was an interesting video to make, to have a look at the wealth divide of the city. If you did enjoy this video and you want to see more content like this, then please make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Comment down below if you disagreed with what I said, if you have any more ideas, maybe I missed something, and comment down below if you did agree with me as well. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you all in the next one in a bit.